What is up, guys? It's your boy GRC. We're coming at you live every single day at 11 a.m. Eastern, and it's not even a problem. Frankly, I'm getting 8 hours. Okay? I'm live every day with my co-host Sam Stolt, producer Bullshocks, but he's like on death row right now. Just kidding. He's in sick mode. He got some sort of virus. So he'll be back maybe next week probably. But we got a lot to talk about today. We're not going to beat around the bush. We're not going to bit boy this one up. Okay? We're talking V3 Uniswap liquidity providing, and we're talking about Ethereum a lot today, and Ethereum's deflationary nature a lot today. And we'll touch on a little bit of Zen protocol, but I really want to touch in general on the pump of the entire ecosystem of everything. And I really do think it's coming from, well, I guess we should talk about Zen protocol because I think a lot of it kind of started, there's some timing involved, and the amount of people that were using Ethereum 3 months ago, it was getting pretty null. Sam, there wasn't that much transaction volume. There might have been a lot of US dollar getting thrown around, but it was traders. And it wasn't a lot. Like, there was not new long-term investors coming in hand over fist. There just wasn't. And now it's like a little bit of boom, Elon Musk, little Jack Levin, little Zen action, little something, something. And I'm not saying those guys are the only guys that can make moves, but those guys' names are just coming up everywhere, everything I see. And I'm excited about the future. A lot of these big, heavy hitters, and there's a lot of synergy with Elon Musk and Sam because Sam likes and follows Elon Musk and thinks he's flipping awesome. And I think he's awesome too, but I don't know that much about him. But I think Jack Levin's awesome. And I think that Ethereum's deflationary nature is awesome. And I'm under the impression that more clicks equals more good for me, Sam. Do we like more clicks? I need more users, guys. I need more users. Oh my God, I need more users, Sam. We need more users. And we need more users that have an amazing experience with low fees and extremely face-melting gains. DeFi Proof, the best rapper in history, guys. I tweeted this out. Dang it. I don't have it loaded on it. Maybe I do. That'll be clutch if I did. I'm going to drop the tweet below while DeFi Proof is posting his Bangalicious Crypto in the Morning song. I need you guys to go to Twitter, smash a retweet, hit the comment, share it to Telegram. Guys, Sam's locked in. You know Sam, when we're talking V3 liquidity providing, he puts his whitey tighties on because it's time to get serious. Crypto in the Morning live every single day at 11 a.m. Eastern.
You already know what time it is. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. 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 Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Smoking a blunt on my way to the gym. 11 a.m. and I'm already tuned in. Got me some hacks and I'm making a stay. Got me some heads on, I'm making it rain. Pay me some maxi and that's just in case. Jim ready to send me to show you the way. Crypto in the morning, 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 crypto in the morning.
Whoops.
Yo, let's get saucy. I got a new setup here, so we're gonna.
You got a little monitor action.
I got this gargantuan monitor here. I'm looking forward to talking about LP. I can talk about LP all the time because there's so much opportunity in LP, and there's nuances that you don't pick up until you have been paying attention to it for a long time. Or think of like anything that you do in life. The more you do it, the more experience you have. You see things that other people don't see. I see things in the gym that you don't see because I've been doing it for 20 plus years. I've been working out for 20 plus years. I've been doing the fitness thing for 20 plus years. So you see things that other people don't. And the more you're in deep into LP.
It's like a good example of that is when you're doing a lot of dating, you can tell if a girl is single without speaking with her. But when you're not, you don't have a damn clue because you're just you're just like, oh man, I haven't really thought about those nuance of things in a while. But I remember like when I was dating, it's like there's no chance she has a boyfriend, you know, like oh, of course she has a boyfriend, you know, like you could tell right away. And I think it's like that when you stare at LP charts or you stare at BNB and Ethereum arbitrage all day, you get a feel. Imagine if me and you went over to trade the S&P 500 right now, we'd get perma-wrecked because those guys it's just like watching TV to them. And we're like, oh, we've been doing all this crypto stuff. We got to jump over here. It's a little more steady, you know? So, and if they came over here, we'd wipe the floor with them. It's because they would need time and we would need time. So it was a great point, Sam. I want to know what you're learning. What are you seeing? What are some of those nuance things?
Let me ask FM. FM, does that FM says Sam needs a better mic. This is the new setup, and I don't know if the other mic was attached to this, so I just switched it in the settings. Let me know if that's helpful. Let me know if you guys can hear this. Is that super loud? If so, then it is all set up. You're muted. Is that good?
Tap on your mic very gently.
Can you hear this? I'm just gently.
Too loud.
Okay, cool. So that is working. Hopefully it is working.
It should be close to your mouth.
Yes, I got to reset this up. It's actually right.
Good.
It's all right.
It's all good. So F you, whoever that is. Just kidding. So Sam, before you get into your nuanced points I want you to think about that for a second. I want to start with a little video about Ethereum's deflation. And then we're just going to go off into like that land all the way down to like making money with providing liquidity with the assets you probably already have. But I want to start with why potentially, at least me, I'm speculating on Ethereum, or at least was a few days back. You haven't thought about it since then, but like
I've got some stuff to say on the Ethereum after this video because there's something special that's happening right now with deflation, but also you have to tie in demand. Demand is what's going to drive the price of it. So we're going to get into that after this video. I'm going to update the background banner. Will you play this?
oh shoot, my bad.
There we go. Let's get into the video.
My bad.
Oops. Go ahead. Ultrasound money.
Where did I lost the browser? Hold on, I gotta find it.
Ultrasound money, guys. This is a tool that's out there where you can look into some. It's called ultrasoundmoney.com or ultrasoundmoney.something or whatever, and you'll be able to see the deflation on Ethereum, and I think it was EIP 1559 or something like that, where they said, hey, this much per transaction over a certain amount is going to be burnt. And that's effectively what's happening here. And it's been happening for about 2 weeks or 3 weeks now. So that's what this video is going to get.
Yeah, so this is a short little video, guys. I might not play the whole thing, but I need to get the point out in the beginning, and we'll stop it. But the point is important if you haven't seen it or noticed it. And I think you can get a lot across and with just a little bit of learning here because the chart, it makes sense if you know what it is. All right, let's go.
Let's get it.
What's up, everybody? King of Home here, coming at you with your daily crypto update. Today, we're going to be talking about the Ethereum supply flip. We're finally getting to the point in the next couple of days here, I think, where we're going to have a negative supply since the merge, which is essentially what Ethereum wanted to do. It's one of the goals for the merge to make Ethereum deflationary. Now, since then, the network and just the crypto market, the crypto space in general, has been pretty stagnant in terms of network usage for all coins, including Ethereum, probably, mainly one of the big ones being Ethereum since the merge. And because of the fact that people aren't using the network, that means there's going to be more supply printed than supply burned. But over the past couple of days, basically since we had that Zen Crypto video.
Hey, I've just picked a random video too. So I know about Zen Crypto. Let's
That's
see how many
interesting.
followers he has. 15.1 thousand more Zen warriors.
Video, a few days ago on October 8th. We've been pretty deflationary since then, and we can see in the next couple days, maybe tomorrow or the next day, if we continue.
That would be today, fam.
We're going to go into the negatives for the supply since the merge, and that means that Ethereum will officially be deflationary. So I think this is going to do a lot of good things for the price. Like I said, this is something that people were scratching their heads with and saying, man, the merge happened, what happened with the price? But obviously with these things, if you guys have been around in the crypto space for a while, these things take time. It's not just overnight that you see the change in the way that the product works and the change in the price action once you do have an event like the merge happen. So what has been the cause of this deflationary price? So with that, we can talk a little bit about that. It's been basically jokes. So we can scroll down here and we can see in the past day, we have our burn leaderboard. This is essentially what in the...
This is interesting. This is very, very interesting. So
yeah, dude, I'm going to look at this. This is sick.
This is telling us who is burning, what's causing the most
basically
burn.
telling you where the degens are throwing their clicky clicks.
See right there in the middle is Zen Crypto.
All right, 81.32 ETH burnt, and that is on the 1 day time frame, guys. So that's the 1 day time frame up there. And on Uniswap V3, that would be what we're kind of talking about a little bit later. Well, DeFi router. I don't know exactly how that is interpreted, but I'm assuming that's from liquidity pool fees.
Well, that's also from swaps too.
So that's everything from V3.
I mean, think about.
I didn't know if they routed it different but I see now it's V2, but I don't use V2. So.
Well, let's see if he says this. If that's actually 554 that is burnt, I mean that's 9.
We're talking about hundreds of millions of a year, no matter what.
It's going to be multiple millions per week. If that was
that's normal case. But think about it. Before it was just going up, and people were still scooping and pooping.
Wow.
Yes, that's why when Jack was saying that, I was tell Sam, because it's just a lot of nuanced stuff within all of it. If you haven't been in crypto for a decade, and I'm this is something I've caught up with over the last 2 years. It took a while, but it's just I don't know. It's lit.
Steven says it's echoey. I'm gonna try. This is the first time setting up with a brand new setup, so I'm gonna try headphones. And
I don't think it's echoey. I think it sounds good.
Okay, let me know, Steven and AFM.
Steven, if you're playing with me, I'm gonna smack you in the back of the head because I think his audio is fine, and I'm pretty neurotic about audio. But I could be wrong. He might know a lot more.
What's Ethereum's?
Now I notice it. Let's just no, but seriously, let's listen to the end of this video. I'm gonna back this up just 15 seconds because this is actually cool. Look at the left side. It says the burn total and the burn rate per minute. Oh, Sam, you can figure this out per minute burn rate. Oh, so dope.
Sam's deflationary price. So with that, we can talk a little bit about that. It's been basically jokes. So we can scroll down here and we can see in the past day, we have our burn leaderboard. This is essentially what in the Ethereum network is being used the most. Well, today we see it's Uniswap version 3, Uniswap version 2, and OpenSea, which is no different than any other day, but these burn amounts are significantly higher over the past day than they've been in a 1 day time span in the past. We also have other projects like we talked about before. Zen Crypto's still up here doing pretty good, but in all honesty, most of these things are, in my opinion, jokes. They're not serious projects. So Zen Crypto, it's just a free cryptocurrency that's sort of printed for everyone that wants it. And the two...
Well, have you talked to the founder? That's where you're wrong, mister. Yeah, I hope you take another double take on that. We'll be watching your videos. He'll be wearing a t-shirt next week. All right. I'm just saying, no, he is right though. I like how he is open-minded about it. He's not gonna make it either way stupid.
I want to say something about this. Right there on the top left quadrant there, you can see that there's 2 Ethereum burned in the last minute. Okay, so
That's
if you do the
$3,200.
math on that, right?
$3,200.
So if you do the math on that, there's 24 hours a day, and there's 60 minutes per hour. So that's 1,440 minutes in a day times 2 Ethereum. That's 2,880 times $1,600.
That's $1.2 million an hour.
That's per day.
Per day with them.
$4.6 million worth of Ethereum burned, assuming that this was consistent throughout the day. And remember,
Dude, but imagine
we're in the
bull
depths.
run.
Correct. I was just going to say this. We're in the depths. We're in the depths of a bear market, and we're burning this much Ethereum. What GRC was saying, what happens during a bull run, bro? Transactions go up, burn rate goes up, demand goes up.
I think we found out that it's the echo. It's just if you have the mic closer to your mouth and you speak just like normal, like you just speak like you're talking to like a librarian right next to you, rather than like a speech to a room, like because it just picks up everything. But I had to practice that too. It took me so long to put this damn mic in front of my mouth. Like it's just not normal too. But anyway, who cares? We're gonna watch the end of this video. This dude deserves it, other than his a little bit lazy on the Zen take, but we'll let it slide.
Cryptos that have really taken the top spot in the Ethereum space over the past couple of days. We can see here, if we go to DEX tools, you want to look at, you know, yeah, why is Uniswap so high today? One of the things that I do is I go to DEX tools, and then you would go to the Ethereum network to see kind of what's being traded the most. And the top 2 coins for being traded the most volume over the past couple of days has been the protocol, which is, again, it's a joke. You guys, if you guys go to the website for the protocol, you'll see that this is the website. It's just Vitalik put a joke tweet and said somebody should make a coin called the, and then even anytime someone says the word the, it'll pump. And essentially that's pretty much what happened right after that tweet. This coin pumped a lot. It pumped, maybe 10x. And again, this is a joke. It's not something that I would ever buy into, but it did generate some volume.
500,000 in liquidity.
The important part is not these tokens at all. The important part is projecting into the future and seeing what the Ethereum blockchain will do if people start really, really using it once crypto becomes, not in the like I said, the important part is the volume that's generated for Ethereum. We've been over, 19, 20 Gwei over the past couple days. And that's all it really takes is a couple of jokes to push the network into deflationary mode in terms of usage and volume. And to me, it makes me think, imagine the usage and volume that Ethereum is going to get when you have crypto become popular again, and you have a lot of, popular dApps starting to be used every now and then. I mean, you can think back to some other periods of hype in crypto with things like Bored Ape Yacht Club, with P3D, with the Ohm clones and all that stuff. There was a lot more volume on those days, and we're talking about like 70 to 110 Gwei days, which is what was that, maybe 4 times more than what we're seeing right here. So we could see an even sharper decline in the supply, or sharper incline in deflation, and that's going to do some good things for the price. People are going to have a positive outlook on a deflationary coin in Ethereum. Some other things that I think will happen as we get to that point where more dApps are being used and that Gwei stays up. Yes, your gas fees will go up a little, but that will be dealt with later on down the line. But some other things that might happen is right now people are starting to notice that just by staking here in Ethereum, you're making a lot more. I think they said somewhere around like 11% APY, because the fees are so high, and there's not that many stakers in tandem with the amount of fees and the amount of network usage that's happening right now for validators. So if you do become a validator, either on all nodes or Lido or Rocket Pool, or you have your own validator, you guys can research all that stuff on your own. It's pretty easy to do. And if you have Ethereum sitting in your wallet, it's definitely something that you want to consider. But if you're doing validating for that, you can get some chunky, juicy rewards from doing that. I mean, look at these rewards. People are getting 0.1. This is one guy getting 0.1 Ethereum for simply just having his validator on. And these rewards can be
Yeah, but how much ETH does he?
0.2 Ethereum for proposing a single block.
Oh, hold on. I want to go back. I want to go back and see what, because he said that guy earned 0.1, but I want to see what he put in.
Rewards, people are getting 0.1. This is one guy.
All right. So gas used, and then transaction, proposer, block, slot. Does it tell you how much you put in there?
No.
Yeah, I mean 0.1. I mean that's cool, but like 820% on that per staking that. I gotta look into that. Interesting.
The only thing about validating that I don't like is that I don't want to be in charge of, and this is why it goes more centralization. Like Ethereum is moving towards like Binance in terms of centralization, where everything with Ethereum is going more centralization to increase scalability. But I don't want to be responsible or lose my Ethereum because something was updated with a new EIP or this, that, the other thing, and I didn't update, and so my Ethereum gets slashed. That just doesn't sound super appealing to me. Maybe it's because of that naivete, because I don't understand validating fully.
Well, I think you need like validators definitely don't need money for anything. Let's say, because it's just not where you would put 32 ETH if you needed money for anything. And like, come on, you could do 150 different things to make a better profit than that, I'm sure. Yeah. But they don't really give a crap. It's kind of like hex staking in a way. It's like I don't want to look at crypto all day. I don't want to, but again, it's definitely so much different. And please don't start comparing those things in the chat, please.
There's also something I see 32 ETH. Yes, thank you. I think there was a podcast recently where Vitalik was talking about how they're going to do, sharding is just the segmentation of the data piece from a block so that they can increase the throughput. Well, from my rudimentary understanding, and I don't claim to pretend like I know exactly what Vitalik's talking about when he talks, but it sounded like there's something like a VVS or VVC, which is like the sharding applied to validators so that more people can be validators. So you don't need 32
to do that, dude. 32 ETH is a balls ton of money.
For 99% of people, yes.
Yeah, like come on, bro. You need 40 grand to get involved. Like that's 50 grand now. That's like 50 grand.
And it moves it away from the average.
That has to be like a percentage of your stack. You ain't putting all your money into that. That wouldn't make any sense. So that's a little bit centralized. Gives you those vibes, right? Like it's going to give you vibes where it's like centralized in the fact that you just like the guys that have this kind of money probably all be chit-chatting a little bit. Like I'm not saying all of them are rich as crap, but I'm saying like 10%, 20%, 30% of those guys probably pretty rich.
And what does that do? It effectively excludes anybody who doesn't have money. So the vast majority of the population it excludes from being a validator, right? I don't know. Does that seem like it's a good policy?
Maybe he knows something we don't about like the future and scalability, and he's like, guys, trust me on this one. Like you don't want to like or whatever. Like I don't. Again, there's so much nuance there. They would talk in rooms having conversations about topics we wouldn't even know what they were talking about, but they have a lot to do with what we do. So again, this is a game of learning, and me and Sam are not afraid to put in 10 years. Like that doesn't scare us at all. And frankly, it sounds enjoyable. So we are going to continue this video. I'm literally sharking all these websites this guy's using, and I'm going to go to his after the stream. He has great websites, and I need better websites because I just don't have enough.
In the Ethereum blockchain, and right now we have about 14 million. So I can easily see right now with 20 Gwei average, I can see this doubling to 28 million Ethereum staked. Which let me make sure that that's not insane because we do have a total supply here that we want to make sure that we're getting. So if the circulating supply is 120 million, I think 28 million is it's definitely achievable for the amount staked over here at Ethereum. So with that, I think that is another factor that's going to be positive on the price as people see lots and lots of coins locked up voluntarily. That sort of means that the coin isn't going to just turbo dump overnight. So that's very, very positive for the Ethereum blockchain too.
So I keep thinking about Bitcoin and just like
going down over time. We talked about the fact that increasing validator.
Thank you, Mister. You know, Sam, there's something that I do that everyone gets mad at me about, but I just don't care so much that I does not even on my radar. And sometimes I forget to shout out the people that are random that I just watch their videos because I pull them up and then I forget. But guys, just remember, it's just a lot of work, like a lot of things, like it's just, I can't even focus on all of it. So I'm just trying to get some information across. There's many videos online and that guy had a great video and I already clicked away from it and I forgot to post it, but next time I'll get him. Sorry about that, mister. And his Patreon was Pacific NW Hex. Good morning, fella. $5 super chat. Thank you so much for the super chat, bro. Sam, I want to talk about liquidity provide. I kind of want to switch it up a little bit. I wanted to talk about Ethereum.
Let's do it.
So people know why Ethereum's lit. Like why we like it.
So on this burn topic, I think it's the EIP 1559, there's a certain percentage. So say if it's above 15 GUI or 18 GUI in terms of cost per transaction, there's a certain amount of that is burnt. And this is happening in the depth of a bear market where activity is down, demand is down. So if we're turning deflationary right now, and there's also all of that ETH that's put into the validators that is locked up. So this means that when you go put your money into, and I believe if I'm incorrect in any way, please fucking let me know in the chat. When you go through and you validate, you're locking up your ETH, and the minimum lockup is going to be like 6 months. So that means more than likely probably a year, maybe 18 months before you can even take it out. So we have similar to how Hedron's going, but like this is on a much bigger scale here, where supply is decreasing, right? It's getting burnt, and the rate at which it is going to be burnt is going to increase. So what also happens with demand? Well, we're in a bear market, so demand is down. In a bull market, say the bull market, we think of just the peak of a bull market, but think about the spectrum of things that happen throughout this. Right now, with every gaining month, there's new people in crypto. So the demand for Ethereum is going to continue to climb. And then similar to Hedron, how there's a bunch of Hedron taken off the market because it's staked in ICOSA. And then similar to the Hedron again, a bunch of it's going to be burnt with these auctions that are coming up. We have this, but playing on a macro level, right? This is very, very bullish for Ethereum. Their shit's gonna be locked up for a year, and the amount that's going to be burnt is just everly going to increase. Wow. This is, the more I think about this, I'm very bullish on Ethereum, and I think that building a big position in Ethereum wouldn't have necessarily been something that I would be like, nah, it's not something super important to me. But I think as we see this playing out, this is bullish, very bullish.
Yeah, I think nothing's touching Ethereum. I mean, I could say that if I was in China, I would probably say Binance is a little more lit. But to be honest, going through Binance USA is kind of like, yeah, I can interact with everything. But at the end of the day, like I can't do what I want with Binance as easily. But this is my opinion, I don't think anything's coming close to Ethereum. I think Ethereum's gaining, like, with simplicity in the code and a founder that is there and doing in-depth interviews and on-stage presentations constantly. Well, I don't want to say constantly, but like monthly. And he's been at this since day one. I don't care about the first couple of years of Bitcoin. I'm sure Vitalik was right there in the mix, paying attention in some way, shape, or form. And he is here still, and he is, in my opinion, dominating right now. He really is. And I think this merge was a power play. And I think everyone said, oh, it could be another year, could be another year. Well, guess what? Things come eventually. And it happened. And then we talked about this for years, and people just don't, they just forget. But when it comes to liquidity providing specifically, Sam, because the people want to hear, they want you to teach them. Let's talk about a few different assets, but first tell me a little bit about liquidity providing for the people that are brand new. And I'm just going to use the bathroom for 1 second, but the people that are brand new, liquidity providing, you have a bunch of assets in Ethereum, and then there's a DEX called Uniswap where you can put those assets into a pool, and you earn transactions by actually being the pool. So when people move money in and out of that pool, whether that's Hex and USDC, you're in the middle with both pairs earning those fees. And on Ethereum, the fees are large. But Sam, I want you to talk about it because I have to pee. And I want you to, because everyone wants to hear it. And you've been messing. I mean, frankly, you're locked in on it. So I'll be right back.
Well, this is one of the things that I really enjoy is LP. So as GRC was saying, LP is similar to selling insurance, so to speak. So this is the first time I've talked about this analogy, but you from a very simple point, you're part of a pair of assets. So that could be Ethereum and Bitcoin, or Ethereum. It could be any pair, USDC, Ethereum, or Hex and something, right? When somebody trades from A side to B side, right? You're swapping from Ethereum to USDC. You pay a fee. That fee comes in the form of Ethereum. And if you're in USDC and you're going the other direction, you pay the fee in USDC. So as an LP provider, you earn fees in these two assets. In this example, Ethereum and USDC. Now, given that you earn the fees in the assets that you provide liquidity in, the first and the most important thing is you have to be okay with holding either asset, period. That's the fundamental, that's the most important thing. You have to be okay with holding all of one asset or all of the other asset. And if you're not, if it's a scam, or if it's like, oh, there's a crazy amount of activity going on over here, not a lot of LP, but you know nothing about the tokens, stay away from it. Unless you want to like really speculate with a tiny fraction of your portfolio. Like I would personally stay away from this, not the route I personally will ever go. Now, when you understand both of these pieces from a risk standpoint, we can draw an analogy related to options. So I put up this example here, which we're going to take a look at. So this is options. These are two different options. This is just effectively the payoff of an option. So this is a call option. I used to trade options, right? So this is how the payoff works, right? So down here in this section, this is above this line is profit. Oops, there's this is the nomenclature for profit, right? So up here is profit. So in this area is all profit. This means you're at a loss here in this section. Same thing over here, but we're going to get into this in a second. Profit here, loss there. Now, when you're providing liquidity between two assets, if the price of one asset goes up, you are left with the underperforming asset. If the price of one asset goes down, you're left with the underperforming asset. So this is very similar to the payoff in a call option or the payoff in a put option if you were to sell those. So when I used to trade options, I would sell them and just collect the premium. So you can think about the premium you collect from selling call options or selling put options similar to the fees you earn in LP. And that's why you want to be okay with holding either one of these assets. Same thing on a put option, right? So this call option here, I pay a premium. If you were buying this, I would pay a premium of say $2, right? The $2 you can think of as a trading fee. I pay that fee, and I have the ability to gain if the price of this thing goes up at a certain time. And then over here, right, same thing happens, but I pay if I was to purchase this. This would be a put option, right? I would purchase this, and that's what this is. That's why it's a loss, right, at first. And then if the price goes down, I make money, right? So this is very similar to what happens if you're holding two assets. One goes up in value, you're left with the underperforming one, or one goes down in value, you're left with the underperforming one, the one that went down, right? This is very similar to this when you consider LP positions, not to scare you, but to understand what is going on. Now, when you go ahead.
No, you go. You keep going.
When I consider LP, I want to put it into a much more holistic, like, approach or point of view. I'm not going to put LP as 100% of my portfolio or even 80% of my portfolio, but taking a small portion of an entire portfolio to provide fees, right? And the fees, if you're not familiar with LP, like, you can earn 30% a month, right? Hex is like, oh, we can earn 30% annually, right? 30% annually.
It's safe to say that the workload is a little bit different. So just a little bit / like learning load, I guess. So, I mean, there is like a premium there, but for the most part, like once you get good at it, it's just like normal.
But it's, you don't have to like do a ton.
I know, but it's the mental thing. It's like the gymnastics people play in their head. It's like, okay, we're going into crypto. What does everyone tell you? I don't know anything about crypto. You're like, nobody does. Doesn't matter. All you got to do is buy it, put it in your wallet. And then they're like, well, I got to go. And you're like, all right, buy. And you're like, then they don't buy crypto. It's just, but it's not hard. So it's like the whole thing is like the people in this chat, the 99 in here, it's like the reason me and Sam are excited about this. Now, we're not really necessarily excited about this because revolutionary, like technology and math. It's because we can all do it.
Yes.
And we can do it easily. And that is the part people aren't really getting. Like, it's like, this is awesome. You're earning fees. You're finally being the exchange. This is what DeFi is all about. But at the same time, a lot of the people are not incentivized to learn about liquidity because you learn a lot, maybe too much, Sam, on occasion. And I say that because you just learn the game. It's like if you learn the drug game, yeah, people are smoking weed, having a good time, but yeah, someone's getting their head chopped off.
And with the LP thing, it is definitely a step further. So yesterday, we talked about, say, a graph, right, where complexity is on one side, and then the number of individuals in it is on the other side, right? So when you take this and you apply it to a token, just purchasing a token, that is relatively simple. So it's not super complex, which means that if you come out this way, there's a bunch of people involved, right? LP is more complex. So if you come out here and you're making a right angle there, it's way less people doing it. And when you understand, like, the more complex it is, the less people do it, which means that there could be a lot more opportunity to make money. It's not hard to make 20% a month. So that means,
yeah, but like give people some numbers, like give them some human numbers, like give them 10,000, 5,000, give them a little bit of an estimate from your experience so far. Let's start at the $10,000 mark. I think that's healthy mark.
So say at $10,000, one could easily earn over $100 a day. Easily over $100 a day.
Easily, though. And then on the upside.
Yep, $100 a day. So say if somebody's like, they really have no idea what they're doing, right? Mm-hmm. They have no idea what they're doing. They're just going to be starting this out at the very beginning. You could say that they're going to do something like, if they want to be very, very conservative, they're going super wide on their range. You could do 5% in a month. Like, you don't have to do any adjustments. It sits there. You set up the position. You go on living your life, and you make $500 a month, which is 5% a month. So in 3 months, you have 15%, and in 6 months, you got 30% on this position. Now there might be an adjustment or two throughout that process, but to earn 5% a month is very, 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 very doable.
Now let's talk. Let's switch over to talking about the pairs, Sam, because this is where it gets confusing, frankly. And it's only confusing because you have to understand some kind of ratio between these numbers. Like you have to have seen it enough where these ratios make sense to you. Like you have to have seen hexahedron for a while in order to understand and evaluate properly that maybe providing liquidity between them is a solid move. And maybe you won't necessarily care if you lose to one side of that or the other. Because the assets I provide liquidity with personally, I could give a rat's poop if I end up with one side or the other. And I say that because if I have a big bag of hex, I don't care if it goes to ETH. If it's 10% of my portfolio, very little, not at all do I care. And that's how you LP. If you're not like a whale, you know? So like, I think it's important to remember, like, people would love if you stopped learning. But if you love to learn, like if you know you're going to keep learning and that's a part of your vibe, like keep learning about LP, keep learning about the liquidity pools, keep learning about those things until it makes perfect sense to you. And when it does, you'll understand a lot more about what's going on around here. Because really, at the end of the day, you see a lot of people saying, I got this kind of money, I got this kind of money. There's about 40 Lambos in Hex altogether. So you all together, you got about 40 Lambos. And I just mean that in the liquidity pool sense, but that's also an asset in too. So again, going back to the pairs before you go right there, Hex and Hedron, if you believe they move together in any degree, way, shape, or form, hold the ratio to at least the minimum of what it's at now for the long haul, providing liquidity between them just puts an value add of fees. And you just move forward with your life. Now, if you want to get real Sam Stolt with it, you can get a little tighter with your ranges and earn a little bit more mad gains. And Sam, I want you to talk about that. I want you to talk about. So some people go full range with $1 million. Some people take 50 grand. They do a tighter range, but they have to have more nuance insight on what's going on at the moment. What do you tell the people? Because that's where I get a little stuck up, frankly, because I don't do it with enough money for me to be like, oh, no. So it's kind of just not there yet. But I need to understand.
Okay, so let's so we're going to talk about concentrated liquidity before we do that. Let's say hi to Pacific.
Oh, yeah, my bad. Sorry. Pacific NW_Hex. So say you had about 2.5 billion of old SHIB in an account. That would be lit. Would I need an equal amount? No. So the answer to that question is frankly no, but you will need a good amount of the other side. You don't need the same amount in US dollar, but you need to put up something on the other side when you're doing V3 liquidity providing. Am I right on that?
V2.
Talking about V2?
Let's talk about this one real quick, and this will transition us perfectly into concentrated positions, and then we'll get into some factors to look at for the pairs, right? Because that's like pair that I like, you might not like, and vice versa. So let's talk about this question, then we'll get into the concentrated liquidity, and then we'll get into how you can pick a pair. Okay. If hypothetically somebody does have 2.5 billion SHIB, do they need 2.5 of the other side? On V2, you do. You need an equal amount of each asset. On V3, you can provide a single-sided liquidity or do like a limit order, so to speak. But doing single-sided on V3, you're not going to earn fees. So if you want to earn fees, you would grab some of the other asset. Now, does that mean you need to add additional capital? No, not necessarily. You could, or you could just sell some of your, sell $1 billion of the SHIB and put it in the other asset that you want to provide liquidity in. So you could have that one. Now you have 1.5 on one side and 1 on the other side. Now you have to use V3 in order to do that strategy where it's lopsided. So, which brings us to concentrated liquidity. Concentrated liquidity. This is like a shotgun versus a sniper. Right? If you're playing a video game, right, and we're in close quarters, what do you want, a shotgun or a sniper? You want the shotgun so you can just blast somebody away, right? But if you have something that's a distance, right, what do you want more? A sniper. Because I can hit somebody and they don't even know where I'm at. They have no idea where I'm at. I'm just chilling. Like I'm in air conditioning, you just have the tip out the window. I got the gun up like this, and I can just pick somebody off very far away. They have no idea who I am. Then I can go back to taking a nap, right? Well, concentrated liquidity is like a sniper, right? So if the market's super volatile, meaning you're in close quarters, if GRC is right up here and we're fighting, right, the shotgun's are going to work better, right? You think of like a video game. But if the market's not moving that much, right, then a sniper is a much better approach. So you can snipe, right? You can get a much more effective. But when the market's like up and down, super volatile, you want a wider range. That's going to be like your shotgun, right? So when you think about this, if you have a narrower range, you're going to earn a lot more fees, right? Think about like a shotgun, right? Inside of a shotgun shell, you maybe have 60 pellets, 100 pellets, however many little like pellet pieces inside of a shotgun shell that go like all over the place. But with a sniper, you just have one bullet, period, right? So the one bullet you can be way more precise with. And because you're being more precise with that one bullet, you're able to get way more returns than just the shotgun. Now try to think of using your shotgun and hitting somebody from 100 yards away. It's going to be a lot more challenging because the spray is going to be all over the place, right? And if you hit them with something, it's going to be a tiny little thing. It's not going to be moving as fast. It's barely going to cause any damage, right? And that's how you can think about the concentrated liquidity versus a like a position in V2. So how do you
Yes, so like tell people the advantages and disadvantages of having to be close to your computer. How much of a big deal is that? Because that's what kind of everyone goes to.
So if like somebody like me who sits at the computer all day, being in V3 and having a very tight position is fine. Because what's the negative of this? How is this bad if you have V3 and it moves outside of your range? Because that's what concentrated liquidity is.
Because if Hex runs, and I'll just do this for the people in here, if Hex runs and ETH is kind of staying flat, like you just missed a lot of potential gains. You know what I mean?
But then, so correct. But then that's something that people always bring up. But then think about what happens. If Hex runs, does that happen in 20 minutes or 2 hours or an hour or 16 hours or 24 hours? It happens over the course of months, right? Or weeks at most, right? You might have like 100% run in the course of like a week or something. It's not all happening at once, especially with Hex. It's way too heavy at this point to have like to go from 4 cents to say 20 cents in the course of 2 hours. So if somebody believes that something is going to run, like this goes back to the first two pieces that I mentioned earlier. You need to have assets that you're okay with holding, either one. And then I personally would only use a small portion of my overall portfolio. So if it's 7% or 20%, right, of a portfolio and the other side runs, then I'm only left with the underperforming one. But let's say it was ETH and Hex.
Hex and Hedron, though, that's a fun one to think about for a lot of these guys too. But after the one you say, we'll talk about.
Yeah, that's a great point.
They're different, though. They're different.
I'll write that down. Okay.
Because that's the one that people will know the best for ratio, because they've actually seen those ratios, probably being that they were a part of the airdrop. A lot of them.
So say for example, Hex and Ethereum, and Hex goes up by 10x over the course of say 2 months, 3 months or something, right? And during that same time, Ethereum has a 2.5x, right? So you're left with all Ethereum in your position. This is assuming that you have a giantly wide position, right? Or that you're adjusting your position on a regular basis and just getting smaller and smaller amounts of Hex throughout this time period, right? Because you're kind of following the market up there. So you end up being left with, and I've never seen the research on this, and I've never like tried to think about how the math on this would work, but there'd be two ways to kind of think about this. If I have a very wide range, you don't need to pay attention to your computer. You can just put your money there. You'll earn fees, right? It's not going to be compounding for you, but maybe once a week, you can go through to manually pull your fees if you're in V3, and then you can reinstate them so that they're working for you.
And there's less clicks.
And it's way better. V3 is not even
We'll
comparison.
talk
It's
about
like
that.
having a
We'll talk about it at the end. We'll talk about it at the end.
Okay.
Because people get confused when you want like it's nuanced, but it's real. It's really
so the other thing is, right, that's one scenario when we have a 10x in Hex and a 2.5x in ETH, right? One is to have a very wide range and you're just not paying attention to it for 2 months and you're like, oh crap, Hex has had a 10x and Ethereum's had a 2.5x, right? So then what happens is you're left with almost all Ethereum and barely any Hex during this time period. So you're like, oh, I missed out on the 10x. Yes, this would be correct. While at the same time, you earned fees along that whole entire run. And depending on how wide your range is, if you have a super wide range, maybe you only earn 25% over that time period, right? Or 30% or something like that. But you also got the 2.5x in Ethereum. And you were able to get some of the X's with Hex. Now, the other thing could be that you have a very, very, very narrow range, right? And so if I think that there's sentiment that changes in the market, and I'm like, oh, this past 7 days, I've had to adjust my position every day because my range is narrow. And I'm always left with Ethereum because Hex has gone up. Then the astute person providing liquidity may choose to be like, I'm going to stop providing liquidity with this 10% of my bag and just hold X because they believe that is the best in there, like the best thing for them to do. Because it doesn't happen like this. It happens over the course of time. So say in the course of 1 week of this 3-month run, you're left holding Ethereum on 3 separate occasions throughout the week because Hex has gone, say, from 4 cents to, say, 4.8 cents and then 5.6 cents, right? And then 5.9 cents. And you're like, I think that Hex is going to continue on this run. I will stop providing liquidity, right? So you have
and then there's the deeper rabbit hole, which is there's people that have a lot of money. I ain't naming names up in here. But there's people that have a lot of money in every ecosystem. And when you pull liquidity and then come in with cash on the buy side, if you have a lot, you can really manipulate things. But you can do it on, you can change, you can decide the floor. And you basically, if you have enough money, you can move things manually to a degree. Like if everyone stops using the thing, obviously everyone stops using the thing. But if people are using it, but then there's actors, we call them good actors. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's bad actors for something and then there's good actors for something. But it just depends on what they're doing and why they're doing it. And nobody can know that. No one can know that, but you can appreciate having some liquid funds and some stakes and earning yield into Ethereum while you speculate on some of these assets that are a little higher in volatility.
So let's touch on the pairs, like some of the things to look for.
Hey, my man Kyler, he's actually an actor. And he said, I'm a good actor. And he came out with a super cool movie. Now, Kyler, you know that my ADHD is off of the Richter scales. And I know that we were talking about this at some point. Were we allowed to watch that on stream? Was I allowed to watch that movie on stream? Because, hey, I like watching movies on occasion. And if you're in the movie, that would be cool. So let me know if I can do that. And if you want to come on stream sometime, do me that solid. And good to see you, bro.
Okay. So what are some things that I personally look at to pick a pair? Well, we have the first 2 fundamental pieces. You need to always go, if you're thinking about this, start with these 2, then go into these. You have to be okay with holding either pair, right? Either side of the pair, Hex or Ethereum. You have to be okay with either side. If you don't like Hex, then you should not provide liquidity in Hex, period. If you don't like ETH, then you should not provide liquidity in ETH. Okay, so assuming you're providing liquidity in a pair that you're okay with holding 100% of either side, right? Then the next piece is how much of your total portfolio in crypto do you want to provide liquidity with? Do you want to do 68%? Do you want to do 6%?
I do like 10% for me, but I'd probably creep that up to 30% as I get better.
And you don't need, yeah, correct. You don't need the entire portfolio or even 50%. I would say as the fees go up in Ethereum, assuming that you're using Ethereum to provide liquidity, as the fees go up, then you're going to have the capital needed to do it is going to be higher. You're going to need more capital because if you are providing liquidity with say $2,000 and fees are $25, right? Then you're going to have to pay when you're all in one side of a position, meaning you open up a concentrated position. This is the range. My nose is the price, and now the price is out here. So now that you're all in one asset, you have to pull that one fee. Then you have to take that. You have to swap. There's another fee, right? So you go from all in one set to say 50-50 in each one. Then you're going to open up a new position. So you got to pay 3 separate fees. And if it's at $75 or $80 total in those fees you're paying, then on $2,000, it might take 3 or 4 days for you to break even. Versus
I was grinding on ETH PAL for a minute, and then it got all wrecked on me. I mean, it's not wrecked. I don't want to say it's wrecked, but it's like ETH PAL's not doing the things that I personally, not everyone else, and I'm same with ETH Fair, frankly, there's not really enough liquidity in ETH Fair for me to consider talking about it at this point.
So, I agree. So
that's hard, but I was doing it with no fees. That was my point on ETHW. It was really cool to do.
So we've decided, we picked our pairs, right? 2 pairs you like. You decided you're going to do 10% of your portfolio, or you're like this bag, right? I'm going to do it with, right? And then some things that I like to look at is the number of transactions. So the number of transactions in a pool.
Well, real quick, so let's say Sam has his 10%. Let's just call it 10% for right now. Let's say Sam has his 10% in Hex and ETH, and that's what he likes for that, and he's going to keep that one for a little bit longer term. But then things happen in crypto, Sam. Crazy shit happens, man. Spikes in volume, Doge chain, Elon Musk will come out and say whatever. I want to get a part of that. That's why I do 10%, because I want to do another 10%. But I don't know what that is yet, so I ain't going to say that. You know what I mean? But again, that's before you say your next point. I wanted to say like 10% is cool because you can always do 20%. But 90% is not always cool because you don't want to pull things on Ethereum too much. And again, we can, for now, we're going to say V3 is pretty much just Ethereum. And as far as I experience it, and it is costly, guys. Remember, it's important to understand that. Like, if you're just a pleb, like, go chill on something else for right now. I don't even go too hard on it. I was talking about Sam for getting 20 or 30 minutes in today to do my first like semi-serious position, if you want to call it that, whatever. Like, it's nothing you need to rush into. It's not the FOMO of life.
Correct. So after transactions, and I'm not saying that this is the most important thing, but these are some things that you definitely want to consider, is the US dollars it's earned in terms of fees, right? When you look at transactions, how much is traded back and forth because that gives you how much you're earning in fees, right? Those are important metrics that I like to look at, right? Now, another thing that I don't see anybody else for anything that I've seen or read about when it comes to liquidity providing, you guys will be the only people that probably know this, is looking at the distribution of liquidity. I'm going to try to see if I can pull up the distribution of liquidity right now. So that you guys.
Hey guys, if you're in here, we'll give you another 15 minutes. We were thinking about closing. But hey, retweet this out. Let people know we're in here. Sam's pulling up a chart. Sam loves observing these charts, and I'm starting to catch his vibe on it because it's really interesting when you start looking at the distribution. And believe it or not, I learned it myself from ETH Fair because I was like, dude, there's enough liquidity in here. I can't fucking sell. The range, Sam, I was out, you know, they range played me. But Sam, talk about these charts and go into this segment, please, because it's lit.
Okay.
One
So-
quick chat before you get started. Is it too much to ask maybe for a separate stream, but could you actually do a live LP move on screen? Me and Sam will definitely set that up. It's easier if we set that up beforehand. So good call on that. I will definitely set that up. Tomorrow we're doing a macro stream on the Fed report, and we might actually be on like 15, 20 minutes early for that because I got to catch the timing on that. So, but maybe the day after that we'll do like, I'll totally do it. I don't care. Like, I love showing people how to do it and I love getting involved. So yes, that's a great idea. Thank you for the super chat.
Also, if you go to my channel, you can go Pacific, right? If you go to my channel, which is STOLT, I think if you just look up STOLT Fitness, even though it's not fitness related stuff anymore, you should be able to find it on YouTube, or it should be in the description if you're watching on Jersey's channel. Go to my channel, look up liquidity, right? Go to my channel page and then search my videos for liquidity. I have a video where I've done that, where I showed you how to set up a position. I think in probably a couple different times to actually how to go through and do it. But let's do it on stream too. I'm down to do it on stream. So
I'll advertise it and everything, and we'll make it right.
This is a calculator for Uniswap V3. This is similar to how it's going to look in the actual Uniswap. So this is Uniswap.fish. Uniswap.fish. What I've selected is the Ethereum network, right? And then I picked Ethereum and Hex because that's what we've been talking about, right? I'll just look at this other one. Let's put Hex in here. Now, we're going to pick this pair in that fee range. And the one of the things that I look at that I don't see anybody else talk about, right? So if you're getting this information and you decide to provide liquidity, I highly recommend checking this out because this has a big effect on how much you're actually going to earn. See this distribution, right? This is like a normal distribution, whether you're thinking normal in terms of statistics as a bell curve, right? Where you have the highest point is where everybody resides. Makes sense, right? And this is actually how the market plays out, because you earn more fees. If you see an abnormal or strange or flat or fat-tailed, right? Fat-tailed is like a term in statistics, distribution curve. And so let me describe what this is real quick.
That's a term in Baltimore too, fat-tailed.
That's a different type of tail.
Whoops.
If you see a distribution curve where it's not as pointy in the center, right? So the pink line is where the price is. The green lines would be a concentrated position. You can change the green lines however you want to change them, closer together, further apart, lopsided on either side. Now, if you see the blue, that's how the current liquidity is. So if somebody was providing liquidity on Ethereum, between Ethereum and Hex in the 0.3% pool here, they could pick any range, and everybody wants to earn fees, right? So they're going to provide it over the pink line because that's the current price of Hex or the pair, the ratio between those two, right? Now, if you see the same type of distribution, but think of it as like somebody stepping on the top of that point right there, so it's flatter. What that means is the money in the pool is pushed to the sides, similar to how V2 is, which we can talk about V2 in a moment. And that means that in the center, there's less money there. So why is that important? Well, if GRC and myself are in the pool and we're both super concentrated, right? Then we'll say we split the pool 50-50. The fees, we both have $10,000 in there, and it's earning, say, $1,500 a day, and we each get to split that. Now, if GRC is like, hey, I'm going on vacation, I'm going to do a much wider range because I'm not going to be at my computer and I just want to enjoy my vacation and not think about crypto. But I'm like, I work at my computer and it's fine if I need to adjust my position a couple times a week. That's okay with me. So now GRC's position goes from very narrow, but think of those green lines pushed together, to being spread out over the distribution curve. Now that means he only earns fees where the price is. So if it's here, he earns fees, he earns fees, he earns fees, all the way over to this side, all the way over to this side, right?
And it will
Now,
indicate on the front end, it'll say you're in range. So there'll be a green kind of in range, kind of keep an eye on it, but that'll keep like a little mini eye on it for you. And it will directly say out of range in red if you do go out of range there.
yes. And so what happens, one of the things that I like to look at, so you look at the pairs. Now, if it's some exotic pair, if it's something like Deci or like base or like things that there's no liquidity on.
Would you call icosahedron that?
Icosa, yes. Hedron, not so much. Icosa, because the data is not going to be big enough to show in here. So you're
It's
not
kind
going
of
to
like
know.
the mid period kind of isn't like it can sit. It's like different. Yeah.
Yes. And you have to look at it a little bit differently because you won't be able to have the same data that you have here. But
maybe you get more stability too, because that data indirectly means like, because the two assets are very similar.
But it could also be a massive opportunity.
Right. And yeah, and yes.
Because other people can't see that. First of all, like the stuff I'm talking about right here, nobody else is.
Hexhedron on ETH PAL was a gold mine for a minute. On V3.
Well, in that example where we both have $10,000 in it, but you're spread out over this curve, right? And I'm super concentrated. So that $2,000 in fees that come in every day, instead of it being split 50-50 because GRC is going on vacation for a month, right?
Right.
He has a wide position. That means maybe I earned $1,500 of that $2,000 per day, and GRC only earns $500 because I have super concentrated. He's spread out. So if you're looking at the distribution curves, you want a flatter distribution curve. You want one that looks squished down or looks strange. If it's like this, then that means the fees are going to be split between more people. Does that mean it's bad? No, not necessarily. Not necessarily, but it just means that it's going to be split between more people. So if you find pairs where the distribution is strange looking, that could potentially be an opportunity to earn an abnormally high amount of returns. Let me show you a pair here. I'm telling you guys.
And if you go out of range, Sam, tell them what happens, because that like when you go out of range, that basically means that you've pushed your asset to one side, and that all of the USD value from that pool that you put in is now in USD or ETH in this example. But that to me, like I could give two rats butts about, especially ETH and USDC. Like I could really give two. That would be a perfect one if you had a bulk load of money.
Correct. Or maybe this. So this is what a lot of people.
Oh, are you serious? WBTC? Wow.
Yep. So they will provide liquidity between these. So the more people in this pool, look at the returns here, right? So returns are only 6% a month, right? And remember, I'm like only 6% a month. But in reality, for most of the population, if you earn 6% a month, they're like, holy, I'm earning 6%.
Saying 6% kind of belittles it. It's like more about the number amount, right? Like, so if you're putting $100,000 of the asset that you already had sitting in your wallet, and let's say you already did in this case, you would be earning 6% of that a month. So what is that? That's $6,000 a month. That's probably more than your average teenager makes working 45 hours a week. In this case, you really don't have to do much except, well, you do have to do a lot. It is a lot of work, guys. Let's not beat around the bush to know all this stuff. But like, if you know all this stuff, just God bless America. Keep learning. And but yeah, you need to keep learning. If keep learning is the key here. Like keep learning, because the more you learn, the easier it is for your brain to calculate these numbers and these thoughts. That's a lot of what crypto is.
So look at this one. This is the pair between USDC and Icosa, right? What do we see? A strange curve here, right? So I'm not saying that this is like the best curve because we don't know what transaction volume is or anything like that, right? But check this out. That's on a monthly, this is on a monthly basis, guys. Monthly basis. What does it say, GRC?
You're 251.36%, sir.
Hey, how does a double and a half sound per month? A triple,
Poopy, stake it.
right? Could you?
Yeah,
Do
no,
you?
it sounds
Yeah,
dope,
do
and
you want to
that's why
stake?
I'm doing it. And like I'm positioning myself with the assets. Like that's kind of what I've been doing. Because remember in the beginning when I was like, I don't really have enough of the other side of it. Like I was like, I kept having like I had Hex, I had Hadron, but like I didn't have any ETH, and now I have all of it, right? So I want to start putting my money to use, although a lot of my money is going to use. That ICOSA pool is really treating me well as far as a little stability, a little something stable, a little something stakey. My Hex stakes, I'm glad that I put them in at the time. I probably wouldn't spend the gas on it now, frankly, but I'm glad that I did. And so, yeah, party on. Good time to be in crypto, Sam, to say the least. Would you say?
And I'm not saying that this. Yeah, I love crypto. So I'm not saying that this calculator is 100% accurate, because it is for sure not. And with these things that don't have any liquidity, right, or that are like exotic in the nomenclature that Uniswap uses, like ICOSA, because there's barely anybody that holds it. You have things where it says it's very extreme, like on $1,000 in a month you make $2,500, right? So
Yeah,
these are not.
that makes sense though for like a new product. Like sometimes you see those new APYs because you're the only guy in the pool. You gotta remember that. Like it takes a lot of these bigger investors a minute to get their way to the liquidity pool of a new asset. Like they're not like chopping at the bit to be the first one to provide liquidity with Zen and ETH or USDC. It's like that'll be a guy like me probably. Or like, like that would be a guy like anyone that likes the product that's trying to get involved and learn. And then after 10 months, 11 months, those guys could speculate and feel like it's a little more because liquidity is the game, right, Sam, as far as like safety. Like, come on. I mean, to a degree, you need to have some capital there.
And so speaking of capital, if you tried, say if your portfolio was $1 million hypothetically, and you wanted to do 10%, so 100 grand at LP, if you try to provide liquidity of 100 grand in ICOSA, you're probably going to get wrecked. And not necessarily wrecked in like,
Yeah,
you're not going to earn fees. It's just that the pool might be like 8 grand. So what do you think is going to happen when you try to spend $50,000 to buy?
that's more of a play for someone who would want to give the ecosystem a little pat on the ass.
And you have, and with very low liquidity assets, if you try to use a lot of liquidity to do this in the pool, you probably have to go for a wider range, because when you have to adjust, there's something here from Mad Hex 5555. When you have to adjust a position, so say if you were doing like 15 grand in the ICOSA USDC pool, and it's the total liquidity in there is $10,000, and you have $15,000 of USDC, and you're like, I'm going to buy 7.5 of ICOSA. Well, when you do that, what ends up happening is you drive the price up there, right? So you end up moving the market every time you adjust your prices, because you are the liquidity, right? You're 60% of the liquidity position.
Yeah, you got to be careful with that. That's why it is nice to practice on the smaller liquidity things because you can learn a lot quicker because you're like, oh, I'm out of range in 60 seconds. Or you're like, oh, okay, I see how this works. But doing this with small amounts of cash, and we had the luxury, Sam. I'm going to say the luxury, and I'm not going to recommend this at all, and I'm not doing it. But I will tell you if I start doing it again. Like when I had the privilege to provide V3 liquidity on ETHW for no fees, it was an honor. Frankly, it was a privilege to learn that way because it was quick learning for me. Like I got a lot in a long way because I was burning through transactions, didn't care. Bam, 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 adjust, boom, 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 like for like a couple days. And I don't think I did it for that much longer, but I'm sure on Ethereum that would have been a couple months because I wouldn't be so quick to do a transaction. As you can see, thank you. This is one of my favorite listeners. Every time he has a comment, it's a good comment. And every time he gives us props for being cool. Which pair would you recommend to first start with to learn? I'll give mine. And then
you give yours and then I'll give mine.
And we'll do for a random new guy with under 10 grand and a new guy with over 100 grand. And but I'm going to recommend similar for both. I'm going to go ahead and say, like, since you're probably a Pulsechain guy, as it sees your logo, I'm going to go ahead and say I can speculate that you might have some Hex and Hedron on your table, on your plate. And if you're going to do it on Ethereum and you don't want to worry too much about impermanent loss, which I wouldn't, frankly, if it came to Hex and Hedron, because I really do think if those things both blow off top to any degree, they will start moving. And I think ETH will have to be the thing to kick that off, frankly. So I do think Hex and ETH is a safe pair. I don't think you're going to make mad gains, really. But I think it's a good learning opportunity with some safety attached to it. But if you want to get, for the guy with $100,000, you're going to want to use USDC and ETH or something like that to get a good feel for it without feeling like you're about to lose 100 grand on a swing. And that's how I would feel if I had ETH. If 100 grand was 10% of my bag and I was doing it, I would be like, cool, I can end up with 100 grand of USDC, buy whatever afterwards, or I can have the most deflationary, explosive friggin' thing ever. So those two, if you want to be super safe, you're going to go closer to the stable coins, closer to the things that are stable. And if you want to be a little exotic and learn, I would say Hex and Hedron's a good pair because they do have some real relationship within ratio, in my opinion.
So I think that the Hedron Hex is a good one. So if somebody is okay with holding Hedron and Hex, if it's Hex and Icosa, if it's Maxi and Hedron, provide liquidity. And remember the first criteria to take a look at when you're providing liquidity. Are you okay with holding all of one asset or all of the other asset? So if that is Maxi and Hex, then you should do those, right? And then you decide how much of your position of your total portfolio. If your total portfolio is $87,000, if you do 10%, $8,000, right? You could do that in $8,000. Now, if you don't want to see fluctuations in the value of your position, basically, if you don't want to hold crypto, meaning if you held Hex or you held Hedron, the value, you could put in $10,000 and then in 3 days it could be $8,600 because the value of both have come down. But that's going to happen if you just have it sitting in a wallet. Nothing has changed. Like that stuff would have still come down. You wouldn't have affected it whether you had an LP position or you just had it sitting in your wallet, right? So if you don't want to see that, basically that means if you don't want to hold crypto, you could provide liquidity on something like 2 stablecoins. But remember, a lot of people in crypto are going to think that way. They don't want to see the portfolio value change. So they're going to put their money in 2 stables and provide liquidity between 2 stables. So what does that mean? The returns are going to be really, 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 really low. But you can also take the same approach of
yeah, I'm talking beginner. Like when I think beginner, and this is different for Sam because he's like a beginner that has experience doing the exact same thing somewhere else. If you know what I mean, I'm like a beginner that doesn't have experience doing the exact same thing somewhere else. So for me, like the gains are out of the question when it comes to learning. That's my opinion. You do slip up and make mad gains when you're learning too. I slipped up and made a lot of money on ETH Pal. But you know what I mean? So I think of learning as like, let me see if I can do this without worrying about the money at all, with an amount of money that like is fair. And then I'll have my other computers ready for real deployment, like real deal financial deployment. And then I have this computer and another one where I'm kind of like, yeah, we're just chilling, playing games and having a good time learning the ropes of crypto. What a good show, Sam. I love when we get to talk about stuff that's stimulating and true and real. And V3 liquidity providing is what the best guys in crypto focus on as far as making money. It really is. If you start getting involved with the people that know what they're doing, you start to figure out a lot about liquidity, about these pools, about manipulation, not always negative manipulation. And I think that the bear market, I've never felt like there was a bear market, and I'm starting to feel like there's a bull market. You know what I mean? Like I felt like I made way more money. I quit my job 100%, nuked myself to zero, and I have more money than I've ever had. And it's not like a ridiculous amount of money at all, but it is probably more than I've ever had at one time. And it's chill. because it's the bear market. And you know what everyone says? Like, oh, hold your horses, just DCA the whole bear market. I'm like, bullshit. I'm like, bullshit. I'm like, there's still a ratio between Ethereum and BNB. I'll swap that back and forth all day long, boy. Thing went up from 270 to 330. And it moved at a totally different time as they both moved, but it was different. So that's just ARB 101 DGen GRC style. And all chain bridge, I owe you guys a Christmas basket or like something, a little GRC bicep flex, or like an ad or something. Send me a hat, I'll wear it. All chain bridge. GRC is Mr. All Chain Bridge. I'm pretty sure I single-handedly made them take ETH off of All Chain Bridge.
Oh,
I literally think they were like, there's a dude in here that's sending like 50 ETH a day to Binance. And I was like, yeah, that was me.
Can I want to give a very quick update, and then we'll do DeFi proof and take us out of here. Hypothetically, I may have put 7, and I want to give a little disclaimer. Don't do this, period. Like, I'm going to talk about this. It's going to sound interesting, right? Or it might sound scary. Don't do this. Just don't do what I'm about to talk about. I took $7,000 on a credit card, put it into crypto, took that $7,000, put it into LP, and that money on the $7,000 that I put into LP has already generated over $2,000 in 3 weeks or so, 3.5 weeks. And my first payment is $70. So you can make great returns, but I'm not saying you should.
But why would someone not want to do that? Okay. Like, tell me why. Like, give an average Joe that's just putting on his backpack out of college, like why he wouldn't necessarily want that to be his first move. But you're like in the most random ass 1%er position as someone who keeps his overhead low and it doesn't have a bunch of niños running around full speed. So that's rare, not super rare, but it's awesome. So what do you tell the average guy who's listening, trying to get involved? Give him a couple months. Obviously, if you're learning, give it a couple months, but Sam, give him a little something.
First of all, I'd continue learning every single day as much as you can and focus on cutting your expenses first and then increasing your income. But why not use a credit card to buy crypto? Well, what happens if I fuck something up? What happens if I get hacked and I lose that $7,000 of crypto? Well, then what does that mean? That means that Sam is responsible for $7,000 on a credit card for something that I didn't get any of.
$7,000. Imagine being responsible for $7,000 on a credit card, guys, in a world where they make you get $400K off the top when you're 18. They compound the shit in your face and then tell you it's a good idea. Literally, the biggest scam in the history of the universe is student loans.
I agree. So
never had one myself. Luckily, I went to school for just a hair of a time, and my dad fronted the money, and then I got arrested.
But good move on not going.
Yeah, no, dude. Thank you for the Wacomico County Police Department. Seriously, they saved me from a debt for life.
That's yes. So hey, I got that other call in.
Yeah, we gotta go. Damn, we were vibing that hard that we forgot about the time, guys.
I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I definitely did. I hope you guys did as well. And we enjoy it, and we enjoy learning and going through and helping people out, answering questions.
Yes, and I want to know, I'm going to come on again. I have not done a double show in a while, guys. I've been trying to keep my brain at some sort of emotional medium, but it's Tuesday, baby. We're midweek. I'm rocked and loaded. I want to know in the chat, what do you guys want me to cover later? It's going to be just like a half hour or an hour, but what is it that you guys, I know PP token, I know that's one of them, and I got to not be a PP head and not look at that, because sometimes, me and Sam with the memes, we get a little lost in the sass, as you could say. So I always am like, oh, I forget, but I'm going to do that one. And then let me see what other people say in the chat. So as we're closing, I would love to know what you want me to cover in the chat. because I am going to do another show today, a Jim Rat Crypto show. Maybe I'll have a guest on. Maybe not. I might talk about HSI auctions a little bit. That's coming up right around the corner, guys. I'm scared shitless to sell my Hedron for nothing. I'll tell you that. I'm scared to death. And I don't know why, but I kind of know why. So supply shock is real. Deflation, as we could see with the Ethereum stuff, Sam, like, what was I saying? Fuck. Anyway, guys, Crypto in the Morning live every single day, 11 a.m. Eastern. Me and my boy Sam every day. La la la. Bullish will be back soon. Hopefully, he's perma wrecked right now. So just give him some time, guys, and have an amazing day. Crypto in the Morning. We are out. I'll be back in probably a half an hour, guys. Jim Rat Crypto Show. Make sure you're back here. We're going to be talking some intense detail, maybe a video reaction. I got 30 minutes to figure it out, but I have to talk about Zen and PP token and whatever you guys write in the chat. So write it up.
You already know what time it is. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Waiting on pulse. Crypto in the morning. 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 Waiting on pulse. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Smoking a blunt on my way to the gym. 11 a.m. and I'm already tuned in. Got me some hacks and I'm making a stake. Got me some hydro, I'm making it rain. Pay me some maxi and that's just in case. Jim Rat sent me to show you the way.